Hello and welcome back to Open, everyone. On Sunday, October 23rd, the Bronx Arts Ensemble will open its season featuring the work of Riverdale composer Laura Kaminsky. As One. As One is an opera about a transgender woman struggling to fit in and figure out who she is. And here now to tell us more is the composer herself, Laura Kaminsky. Hello and welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you. We are happy to have you here, and I'm so digging the variations of topics that are part of our generation today. One of the things that I found very interesting in just reading about this opera is, and I was trying to visualize just the storytelling behind the marriage equality and the sex changes and how that actually plays a role in this day and era, and how I'm curious to know how you're going to be able to convey how they were unable to remain married. Is that how that went down?
Well, that was the original aha moment for me about writing this opera. I was following marriage equality as it was being voted state by state before it was federally, thank you, Supreme Court. And there was an article that talked about a family in New Jersey when New Jersey was about to vote. It was a husband and wife and their 2 kids in the suburbs, and the husband was in the process of transitioning. And the couple loved each other, and they were going to stay together. So the article was posing the challenge that if, when the husband transitioned and became a woman, if the marriage equality did not pass in New Jersey, this couple who'd been together for 20 years would no longer legally be married. And they would be losing all of the benefits and protections of marriage. And as I read the article, I went, that's so much the story for an opera about who is the core of yourself. And if, in order to really be who you are, you have to change, then what does that do to all the people who know you? And how do those relationships change? And then this other layer, which is, then what are the social, political, economic, financial manifestations of that change? And I just got kind of pulled into, I need to tell this story in music. I'm a composer.
Yes, so. we said that. I hope you guys said that, and that's the beauty of it.
I wasn't going to write a novel. I had to tell the story in music. So that was where the idea for the opera came.
And so, yes, and so I sat there and in reading this story, and all I could think is like, oh my gosh, I can only imagine how many times my hair would stand up throughout this presentation, just because how do you convey a story like that through music?
Well, what's interesting about an opera is that it's a collaborative art form. Right. So it requires the person who makes the music, but the person who makes up the story and then writes the story, and then the structure in which it unfolds like a play, the set design and all of that. So it took me a long time to put all those pieces together. The ultimate story of As One person, a unified person, is not the story that I read in the New York Times. And that's the beauty of this collaborative process. It's the story of one person named Hannah. When Hannah's a little boy, we call Hannah Hannah before. And when Hannah finally evolves into the woman she really is, we call her Hannah after. But it's one person. And what the structure of As One is that there are 2 singers, a male and a female, and they together play the one character. And that's the only character in the opera. And it's a shared experience. So the male and female voice are singing throughout as one person, as Hannah, going on this journey of self-discovery till finally she realizes who she is and is able to live as a unified person.
As a unified person,
yeah,
I like that.
As one.
I like that. I like that, though. I like that because at the end of the day, we're referencing human beings.
And that was a very important piece of it. My collaborators are a filmmaker, Kimberly Reed, who I found after seeing her film, Prodigal Sons, which I suggest everybody should try to see, which tells her story of going back to her high school reunion in Helena, Montana, 20th reunion, as a woman, where she had been the star quarterback on the football team and the class valedictorian and the perfect boy. And she came back and reconnected with everybody in her new life, which was really her old life.
Right.
And that's the point. She's as one.
Or her true life,
her
we
true
could say,
life.
right? Or her true self.
And seeing this film, I said, I have to find this person. This is an incredible storyteller, and the film aspect sort of hit me, that the opera was already beginning to be smaller, that there were 2 singers playing one character. There wasn't a cast of thousands, there wasn't a big chorus. I knew that I only wanted a string quartet because it is one voice. It's the most unified instrumental ensemble, and it's intimate. So the scale started getting smaller. And then I saw Kim's film, and I wrote to the distribution company and said, may I meet with Kimberly Reed? I have an idea. And we met, and I explained that I wanted to do this opera, and that maybe film would be an interesting way to make the set, because then the piece would be portable. 2 singers, a string quartet, and a film.
Oh, nice. So it's multimedia as well.
It's multimedia,
nice.
and it could then be played not just in opera houses or concert stages, but in a living room or a community center, in a high school auditorium, because what we really wanted to do, and we knew this, Kim and I knew this early on, was to humanize this story that seems so other, a trans person, that I don't know trans people, and realize that everybody has to figure out who they are. Everybody has to go on a soul-searching exploration of what's the core of who I am, and how do I act in the world, and how do I change my relationships as I discover myself. That it's a universal story.
It is.
So
No, it's lovely. It's lovely. I could just sit here and listen to you because I'm mesmerized just by your passion behind it. I can only imagine what you've created, right? Because all I'm sitting here thinking is mind, body, spirit, mind, body, spirit, mind, body, spirit.
This unity as one. And so Kim and I started planning this project, and then we realized neither one of us was a librettist, the person who actually writes the lyrics. And then we met Mark. Mark Campbell is one of this country's most important librettists. He's written, I think, something like 20 operas now, one of which is quite well known, Silent Night. It won the Pulitzer Prize a few years ago. I met him. We were judging grants together for Opera America. I said, you know, you're really interesting and smart. You are such a good librettist. Maybe you could give us some ideas. I told him about the project. He said, I love this idea. Might I be involved? So I said, you and Kim and I have to get together. And the 3 of us have clicked. We created as one. It went up at BAM in Brooklyn in 2014. And we're now on our 10th production around the country. We just came back from Berlin. We were in Denver last week preparing for a production that's going to take place in the spring. And the woman who's singing with the Bronx Arts Ensemble is actually going to be playing Hannah After in Denver. So we're real excited about it.
It's great. You're touring as well. So before we go, can we just share with everyone the dates on the opera?
Sure. It's on well, this is not an opera production. This is a concert performance.
It's a concert performance, right? That's multimedia. Yes.
So it's interesting because it becomes very intimate. And in this performance at the Bronx Arts Ensemble, which is October 23rd, I believe it's at 2 o'clock. I'm taking a red eye back from San Francisco and will arrive just in time to go to the performance. We only have the string quartet and Blythe Geisert, who is the mezzo-soprano. And so we're doing arias that belonged only to the female part of Hannah, the female voice. And she'll be singing several arias. One of them is called To Know. And it's a beautiful moment of discovery. It starts out, then I see her on TV. There she is. And all of a sudden, this little kid realizes there are other trans people out there. I've never known that before. I have to find out about this. And Hannah races to her public library. And she starts searching through the card catalog. And the word transgender never appears. Transylvania, transatlantic. No, I can't find it.
Right.
There it is. Discovery. And joy. I'm not alone. I've learned there are others. I'm in a world.
I love
and
it.
It's a beautiful moment of discovery. So there's a lot of actual joy
I love it.
in this piece.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, I could just sit here and just listen to everything you're sharing because it's about humanizing and just relating to anyone who's different. That's what it all boils down to.
And that we're all the same underneath.
That's right, and that we're all the same, and we're all looking to be as one. As one, that's right. And it's being performed by the Bronx Arts Ensemble on Sunday, October 23rd at 2 p.m. at the Diaku. Is it Diaku?
I believe so.
Yeah, the Diaku Home, which is located on 4530 Delafield Avenue in the Bronx. That's 4530 Delafield Avenue in the Bronx. Of course, for more information, you can always visit bronxartsensemble.org/events, bronxartsensemble.org/events as one. And for more on Laura, you can visit Kaminsky.com. All right, we do have to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. There's more open coming up next.
Thank you.